for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Patricia Mary, and for the next hour, I will be reading from the January 24th, 25th issue of Off Duty from the Wall Street Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. From the front page of Off Duty, these people went from hoarders to extreme minimalists. Here's how. And this is by Esther Arcara. In the wake of holiday induced shopping fatigue, you might well have sworn off impulse purchases in 2026, but it takes more than a slapdash resolution to permanently right the ship. Carl, Carla Holden, a messy person turned minimalist, calls decluttering a process of getting honest with yourself. Her Los Angeles apartment was once packed with just in case, in quotation mark, items. Over the past 4 years, the 40 something content creator and professional organizer has stripped things back in pursuit of a calmer nervous system and a functional home. A trio of trends popular on social media promote different routes to cutting back. While some TikTok influencers like Holden spring clean their way to more carefree lifestyle, others turn to Project Pan, which halts buying new beauty products until that costly eyeshadow, blush, or bronzer is worn down to the pan, again in quotation marks. Some folks credit Swedish death cleaning for their newfound peace. This cheery sounding practice guides you through the delicate process of purging belongings to spare your family once you have passed. Not since Marie Kondo's hit 2024 book, The Life Changing Magic of Tidying Up, has taking stock of your stuff felt so urgent. According to a TikTok spokesperson, hashtag minimalism posts increased by more than 15% in 2025 compared with 2024, while those tag hashtag Project Pan increased by over 270%, and hashtag Swedish Death Cleaning saw a more than 440% increase during the same period. Reagan A.R. Gurung, socialist, social psychologist and professor of psychology at Oregon State University, attributes the decluttering revival to a need for control. People are feeling battered, he says. Going minimalist means less to worry about. Of course, it always buoys your bank balance. New York creative director Elijah Berman, 36, pulled back on spending at the start of her 2024 after she found herself drowning in clothes, makeup, and $48,000 worth of debt. During the pandemic, social media shoved products down your throats. And since there was nothing else to do, we bought them. She says, now 8 months debt free, she views her year and a half no buy period with a few little slip ups, a way of taking back ownership and autonomy. Ready to put down your credit card? We walk through the three-time methods. An all season capsule wardrobe. Questioning which items spark joy might have been Kondo's MO, but today's minimalists often sidestep emotions. After Tim Childers separated from his wife, the 67-year-old retired educator from Chattanooga, Tennessee, downsized from the family home to an apartment, which forced him to retain only necessities. He adopted a Steve Jobs style uniform, two pairs of black slacks, 10 identical shirts, and one pair of trousers for which he needs to be dressier. He now lives by the one in one out rule. If you get rid of one shirt, I buy one shirt. Soon after Connie Reddit's husband lost his job in 2008 recession, the couple sold their house, donated sentimental items to their daughters, digitized boxes of photos, and began traveling full time. They dart between Florida, Costa Rica, and Vienna. Now reached 51, a life coach and self proclaimed nomadic minimalist, fits all her belongings into one medium suitcase and a carry on. To earn a coveted spot, an item must work in at least five different outfits: jeans, black pants, simple t shirts, tank tops, and button down shirts from Banana Public and Madewell features heavily. A lightweight jacket and a cardigan make for easy layering. A slip dress is also go to for dinners and events. Tips for tacking it. I'm sorry, tackling it. Rate suggests writing down your lifestyle demands, where you live, the climate, and what your days look like. Be honest about your daily life, not your ideal one. Go for mostly neutral colors and add a few accent colors that suit your skin tone. Avoid busy prints since they're harder to mix, she advises. Stick to timeless cuts and quality fabrics like linen, cotton, wool, silk, or cashmere. Only keep pieces you truly love. If you just kind of like it, you'll never reach for it. In 2018, Toronto pharmacist Christine took stock of her shopping habits and embraced minimalism after realizing she had shelled out more than her monthly rent on a pair of boots. The 38-year-old's advice: never buy non essential items immediately, add them to a wish list. If you see it in January and still want it in March, it's likely a good buy. And don't shop when you're at loose ends, she added. Boredom is expensive. Decluttering the Swedish way. Swedish death cleaning is a long standing Nordic practice that first rose to prominence with the 2017 publication of Marguerite Magnusson's book, The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, and the subsequent 2023 Peacock show of the same name. While decluttering is about getting rid of things that don't matter, like let's toss out all our expired condiment packages, Swedish death cleaning goes deeper, says Kelly Brask, a professional organizer in Chicago. She called the process of taking stock of your total footprint a more intentional type of downsizing. The practice removes the emotional stress and guilt of throwing away a deceased loved one's belongings by encouraging families to sort through things together beforehand. It can take weeks, months, or even years to complete, says Bask. Despite death cleaning implied demographically, and as gloomy as it sounds, Bass believes it's a useful framework for all ages. I regularly ask my three daughters how many Valentine cards or participation medals they want to keep. I want to teach them early that it's okay to let go. Tips for tackling it. Ella Eggstrom, based in Sweden, is an interior designer, professional organizer, and fixer on the Peacock show. She called death cleaning a act of love, responsibility, and freedom. All those just in case items we hold on are regularly just postponed decisions. She never pushes anyone to let go of sentimental items. We take time to talk about the story behind each item. Clients often discover that the memory doesn't live in the object itself. When people get stuck on an item, says Ekstrom, a dilemma box becomes a temporary home. Once everything else is sorted, it's pulled back out. Bass charges around $100 per hour and requires a minimum of 5 4-hour sessions. She recommends that older clients pass along the history of an item to its inheritor. Says, adds a note in the bag holding a pearl necklace saying, Bud gave these to Chris when they got married. She encourages more senior participants to create a box labeled Throw Away When I'm Dead. This allows them to hold on to keepsakes while freeing up their family later. It's not morbid, it's mindful, says Sit of Swedish Death Cleaning. It invites you to look through your possessions and ask, am I leaving behind treasures or burdens? The TikTok Beauty Challenge taking over bathroom cabinets. While the Project and Beauty Challenge dates back to the Reddit circa 2015, it didn't go viral until it reached TikTok in 2025. The gist: people line up the products they've already owned. All those makeup, hair, and beauty purchases gathering dust in a bathroom cupboard and cause buying anything new until they have used them up. After realizing that she owned more makeup than anybody needs, Mystic undertook Project Pan from November 2024 until November 2025. Today, she considers the Merit Flush Balm Cream Blush, concealer, and limited lash mascara her only essentials. She swears the mascara doesn't transfer even on greasy eyelids. Holden keeps all her previously accumulated shower gel and hair products in an IKEA storage box and shops My Home instead of Sephora. Tips for tackling it. Berman, the creative director, bought too many Broody products during the pandemic and hadn't finished any in God knows how long. She took up the pan challenge at the prompting, of some TikTok followers. The most valuable products, those that can be used in multiple ways. Berman's favorites include Westman Atelier blush stick that can be dabbed on the eyes, lips, and cheeks, and a Basma Beauty foundation stick that doubles as a concealer. She advised, she had, I'm sorry, sorry for the stuttering. She advised makeup palettes. Unless you love every color in the set, they generate a lot of waste. She now only buys travel sizes of mascara since it has a shelf life of 6 months. Red finds that a concentrated 8-ounce bottle of face wash can easily last me 8 months. Among her other essentials, the brand's cleanser, moisturizer, and sunscreen. She uses every product until it's gone, even if I don't love it. But you can avoid that situation, Holden says, by requesting samples from stores before you commit to a purchase. You are listening to the reading of articles and features from Off Duty from the Wall Street Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. From the design page, why is it so hard to find a crowd pleasing scented candle? Scented candles are as popular as they are polarizing. Finding one that everyone likes is nearly impossible. And this is my Michelle Stellata. I was recently given a scented candle. I know, so were you. I don't like scented candles, mainly because using one seems sneaky, like you're covering up a bad smell. But I realize I may be the last person still resisting a 2.3 billion industry. The Hudson Grace original candle sitting on my coffee table, courtesy of a dinner guest, smells lightly floral and unexpectedly good, like a faint hint of jasmine and tuberosol. No one cold, so I lit one cold January night. Then my husband walked in, stopped mid stride, and said with suspicion, "What's that smell?" People have been asking me the same question for millennia. The first home fragrance ever deliberately created was when man would throw resin from a tree onto a fire and it would vaporize in smoke, a la perfume. And Gary Natton, the co-founder of Hudson Grace, who created the candle in my living room, says it's very much like that today. After electricity made candles unnecessary, they evolved by the mid 20th century into a decor accessory synonymous with warmth, calm, and taste. Brands like Yankee Candle helped make central scent to the home. Today, scented candles are designed to shape how a room feels, not just how it looks. It's a scented candle, I said to my husband. It's supposed to relax you. It smells like someone else's laundry, he said. But then he conceded it's not a bad smell. As a fragrant amateur, I wanted to choose a candle that would delight us both. Good luck, says Pamela Dalton, a cognitive psychologist at Morrell Chemical Scent Center in Philadelphia. It's so personal. Dalton, who once created a widely hated smell called stench soup for the Defense Department that invoked a military field latrine, said no two people will interpret a smell in exactly the same way. We humans have only about 400 types of smell receptors, she says. The particular combination of receptors each person has determines how a smell is experienced. In other words, my husband and I might not even be smelling the same candle. When you multiply a finite number of receptors by an infinite number of possible odor molecules, Dalton says, you get countless variations in how people experience scent. What registers in my brain as a comforting might land in his as something cloying. Studies have shown that botanical scents such as jasmine or evergreen trees tend to relax people, and the most universally pleasing smell is vanilla, a scent which is both baby formula and breast milk. So, are those gateway scents? I asked Frankie Rosen, London based founder of interiors firm Jolie, which creates bespoke scents for clients. Actually, you need to use different scents in different rooms, Roselle says. She favors soothing notes like sandalwood or cedar in living rooms and savory notes in kitchen. Tomato scents such as tomato leaves by Lowe are particularly trendy. Non-traditional candle scents such as concrete after lightning, biblioteco, or hinoki fanode are also popular because the candle category has shifted from selling recognizable fragrances to evoking moods and atmospheres. A candle that smells like tobacco and leather, which I have in my office, tells a story. It makes you feel like you're under a cozy blanket on a velvet sofa, says Los Angeles designer Brigitte. McNatton of Hutton Grace says one mistake some people make is expecting a single scent to overcome everything else in the air. The first thing you want to do is remove all other odors from your home so you have a clean palette to work with. Nothing to compete, she says. In his home, McNaughton admits he is a smell fanatic. He uses unscented cleaning products and asks us not to wear perfume and wear a less odor versy cook might crack a window and hope for the best. McNaughton has imposed a ban on preparing certain foods indoors. No one can cook meat in the house. I can't stand it, he says. Frying fish in the house? That would never happen. Of course, while scented candle smells better than oil fried fish, neither is especially kind to indoor air. Frying fish is worse because it floods the room with fine particles and aerosolized oils, which candles contribute lower but still measurable combustion byproducts from wax and fragrance chemicals that can reduce the air quality in your home, says Sarah Evans, an assistant professor at Mount Sinai School of Medicine. There isn't a vast body of research on the health effects of burning scented candles, Evans says, but the studies that do exist show higher rates of headaches and respiratory irritation among people who burn candles indoors. So we encourage people to be as conscientious as they can about adding pollutants, which means that if you're going to burn something at all, it helps if it actually feels worth it. I asked my husband what exactly he disliked about the Hudson Grace candle. He thought for a moment. I didn't dislike it, he said. It's growing on me. Well, there's a million different smells, I said. Can you think of a scent you love? Is there a candle that smells like fried fish? He asked. In fact, there actually is. Another article from a design page. Can a heated blanket keep you warm in a freezing house? We put some to the test. The right heated blanket or mattress pad may put an end to battles over the house thermostat. And this is by Sal Valisa. As the child of a penny pitching Sicilian parent, I'm all too familiar with the dreads surrounding the thermostat come midwinter. Back in the 90s, any attempt to nudge the old school Hollywell mounted on our wall anywhere near 70 degrees would summon my dad, who would ask if I knew how much the gas bill cost. His advice was always the same: put on a sweater. Today, heated blankets do the trick when you don't want to crank the heat. Modern options can be attractive, or at least unobtrusive, enough to leave draped over a sofa or chair, and they feature user friendly timers and detachable machine washable fabrics. A heated mattress pad can offer many of the same benefits, often with separate zones for two sleepers and inconspicuous wiring. Warming your body with toasty cables against your shirt is far more energy efficient than a space heater, though probably not as convenient on a Zoom call. After the initial investment, a heated blanket can save you money on your energy bills too, typically using 50 to 150 watts per person. A mattress pad consumes about 75 watts for a single zone, costing roughly 3 cents per hour to warm up your bed, compared with 30 cents per hour for a medium sized space heater. To see if localized heat can conquer the chill, I, along with my family, tried heated mattress pads and blankets at home. We found two models that deliver on style, comfort, and performance, and can keep your thermostat and maybe your old man happy. Hot and not too heavy. The Bed Sure Gentle Soft Ribbed Heated Blanket features a thick, wide, well corduroy texture that adds visual interest and a pleasing hand feel. A fluffy faux wool serpa underside sits next to the skin. Available in 10 colors and 5 sizes, the bed sure stands out for its intuitive controller and fast heating time. The detachable thermostat plugs into the blanket and connects to an outlet up to 70 inches away. Using a simple remote control, you can cycle through 6 heat levels and can set a timer in 1 hour increments. On its highest setting, the throw reaches about 90 degrees, which was enough to stay comfortable on a sofa in a permanently chilly family room. It worked just as well layered over a sheet and under a comforter to preheat the bed. Bedshear's queen and king sizes include two controllers, allowing each side of the blanket to be adjusted independently. The heating wires are barely noticeable. The only time I really felt them was when pulling the blanket flat under my feet under the covers. Badgers Gentle, soft, ribbed, heated blanket sells for about $106. Toasty Trundle. A heated blanket can warm your bed, but an electric mattress pad stays in place and is easier for restless sleepers. The warm or organic wool multi-zone pro heated mattress pad has an Australian merino top that feels great against the skin. The king size comes with two controllers at the head, each adjusting body and foot zones independently. The easy to read controllers and cord sits neatly on the nightstand. The warm is comfortable, though it didn't reach the max claimed temperature of 129 degrees. I measured around 112 degrees, and it needs about 30 minutes to fully warm the bed before climbing in. Unfortunately, without wireless connectivity, you have to walk up to the device to turn it on. The wires are nearly imperceivable, and extra heating elements around the edges ensure most of the mattress surface is heated. Sometimes many heated blankets don't always achieve that. The benefits of wool include natural insulation and moisture wicking properties, though you're less likely to notice that if you sleep with a sheet over the warm, which is how I tested it to avoid needing to wash the pad regularly. The warm organic wool multi-zone pro heated mattress pad sells for $269. Enjoy staying warm this winter. You are listening to the reading of articles and features from Off Duty from the Wall Street Journal on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. From the Off Duty travel page, 3 cities where it's easy to tack on a day of skiing. This winter, why choose between ski vacation and a city escape? Denver, Tokyo, and Munich all offer best of the both. And this is by Kedner Navarro. We've been to every museum, hopped on and off the double-decker sightseeing bus, and even caught a show or two. It's time to hit the slopes. A day on the mountain might not be the type of escape you usually tack onto a vacation at the last minute, but from a few select cities, it's surprisingly easy to pull off. In 3 cities on 3 continents, here's how you can get out on the slope after breakfast and still be back in time for cocktails at the hotel bar. Mile High Moguls. First time visitors to Denver will find much to love about the city itself, but one of the greatest assets is its proximity to the great outdoors. Nearly a dozen ski resorts sit within 100 miles of Denver. So if you come to Denver between December and March, pack some gear in case you're spontaneously gripped by the need to shred. In Denver, head to the immersive art installation Meow Wolf for sensory overload and to your nearest craft brewery or green chili slinger for fuel. And make for Aparoa Basin, one of the best value resorts in the area, just a little over an hour away from the city. Book transport on the Snow Stang, a seasonal shuttle service to local mountains, which offer a discount on lift passes, just $99 for the day. Otherwise, you'll still only pay about $145, a bargain compared to the big name Colorado resorts at Winter Park, Breckenridge, and Keystone, which regularly go for over $200 a day. Lower prices can translate to subpar slopes. At A Basin, as locals call it, you still get 1,400 acres of mostly intermediate and advanced terrains, including moguls on Power Keg and the wide room blues of the Zuma lift. For lunch, head 12,456 feet up to El Refugio, the highest elevation restaurant in North America, for a board of Colorado cured charcuterie. Laps on the Alps. Munich might not be quite as close to the Alps as Denver is to the Rockies, but you can still easily fit the city's beer gardens and some solid ski runs into the same weekend. Fares on the coach start at about $82 round trip and include lift passes, coffee, and because it's in Bavaria, a pretzel. The 2 hour drive brings you to 175 miles of slopes that connect 9 villages of Austria's ski Welt, one of the largest connected ski areas in the world. Passengers also receive a 10% discount on gear at the Intersport Oschweiler, a mountain sports rental shop near the station. The bus departs Munich at 6 a.m. and makes its return trip at 4:30 p.m., granting plenty of time to cruise down K8, a 5-mile summit to valley run, the longest in the region. After a few runs, settle in for a hearty lunch of schnitzel and spinach dumplings cooked in brown butter sauce, a cozy mountain hutch which is perched 4,265 feet above sea level. Tokyo Lift. In late March, pair cherry blossoms with parallel turns drills by adding Nagano's Prince Hotel Ski Resort to your Tokyo itinerary. A 80-minute bullet train ride from Tokyo Station, this intimate 74-acre resort is where many people who live in Tokyo go to learn their pizzas and French fries before tackling the deep snow, the famous Joe of Hokkaido. A half-day lift ticket, which grants you access from noon until lifts close at 5 p.m., is about $58, and you can rent a full set of gear for about $80. Take a break from the 14 beginner-friendly, mostly gentle trails with a steaming bowl of buckwheat soba, then hit the slopes for a few more hours. Close an afternoon of skiing with an onset soak at the Aswama Prince Hotel at the bottom of the ski hill. A day pass starts at $26 and includes one meal before or after your session. The train will get you back to Tokyo in time for a nightcap, perhaps at Studio Mule, a listening bar that specializes in natural wine. From the style page, why did dry January get so expensive? This seasonal sober the seasonal sober are learning that mocktails and liquor-free spirits now cost just as much, if not more, than alcohol. And this is by Lane Florsheim. $25 mocktails, $50 for a 4 pack of spirit free spritzers, non alcoholic beer that costs more than the real thing? When did going dry get so expensive? Kevin Tai, a 30-year-old restaurant account manager, assumed that dry January would be a way to cool his spending after the holiday season. But non alcoholic drink menus in New York City have been giving him sticker shock. Instead of mocktails, he drinks non alcoholic beer because he says it's cheaper and the taste is a bit of a placebo. Other times, I'm drinking club soda and downing like four, one after another. He's been saving money, but not as much as he anticipated. During a regular month, he estimates that he spends as much as $900 on alcohol, which includes buying rounds for friends and drinks for dates. This month, he thinks he'll end up at about half of that for non alcoholic beverages. Dry January originated as a public health campaign in England in 2013 and has become increasingly popular in the US in the years since. The global consumer research from Nielsen's IQ found that 4 in 10 bar and restaurant visitors said they're very or somewhat likely to participate this year. Emma Appel-Schoeneck recently dined at the buzzy Italian restaurant Borgo in Manhattan, where a non-alcoholic cocktail with hibiscus ginger, honey, lemon, and soda is $15. You're kind of like, am I drinking juice? Is this so sugary? Said Chonik, 26, the founder of the creative consultancy GR8. After another night on the way to a friend's housewarming party, she picked up some phony Negronis. The price, $6 a pop. Felt kind of steep, she said. She ended up buying only two of the bottled mocktails because she wasn't sure any other attendees would want to participate. People on Reddit bemoan spending more money on non alcoholic drinks than they normally would on liquor. Some offered suggestions. I've been having a lot of fun with tea, one person responded. Just drink water, someone else suggested, to which the original poster replied, I really don't enjoy plain water. Dr. Anthony Niccola, 45, a dermatologist in Newport Beach, California, said that this month he's been sticking to water in all of its formats: plain, club soda, flavored sparkling, and nice teas. It's saving him money when he goes out to eat. A third of the bill is usually wine or alcohol, says Dr. Anthony, founder of the skin care brand Eighth Day. At 11 Madison Park, one of New York City's most famous fine dining restaurants, and its sister bar, Clementine Bar, non-alcoholic cocktails cost $18. We have to take the same approach in terms of care, intention, and ingredient sourcing when we're creating our non-alcoholic programs, says beverage director Sebastian Tolis. His team, for example, created their own non alcoholic chartreuse, which has over 25 ingredients to use in mocktails. In addition to a traditional wine pairing, the restaurant also offers a non alcoholic pairing for $135, which includes herbal teas, agave syrup infused with spices and herbs, and alcoholized wines. Whatever your budget is, it's good to do a little bit of planning in advance, says Hillary, 37, a journalist and author of Going Dry, a workbook. Hillary, who's been doing dry January for a decade, likened the month to any other hobby for which people have to do research and budget. Last year, Tanner Alexander, a 29-year-old home builder in Charlotte, North Carolina, and his wife did dry January for the first time. Out to dinner one night, they ordered non-alcoholic Aperol Spitzers, which at $12 a turn out to be only $1 less than the boozy virgin version. In my head, it should be at least a few dollars cheaper, he said. The couple is doing dry January again this year, but sticking to water, Diet Coke, and the occasional Topo Chico. Eric Goldie, 35, a content creator who hosts the podcast Take Me Off Speaker, has been doing a Monday through Friday version of Dry January. If you're based in New York or where I go in Palm Beach, every day can feel like a weekend, he says. One of Goldie's go to drinks is a Casamigo soda with lime and orange muddled in. So he's been ordering just a soda with muddled fruit. There's also a vanilla flavor that can be put in there, he says. It's probably still $10 at a restaurant, which is kind of wild. At New York City's first zero proof alcohol store, Spirited Away, 9 out of 10 customers are alcohol drinkers, says Alex Highsmith, a non alcoholic beverage retail consultant and former co owner of the store. She and her co owner recently sold their business to a longtime Spirit executive. First time visitors to Spirited Away are sometimes taken aback by the prices for canned aperitifs and non alcoholic wine. Once people see we're highly cured, they, like any other fine wine or craft beverage store, that realization is okay, I'm paying for quality control because there are thousands of products now, says Highsmith 36. Our prices range from inexpensive all the way up to premium. For those trying to curb their spending, Highsmith recommends focusing on the part of the ritual of drinking that they most enjoy. Is it cracking the ice cubes? Is it having really fine glassware or doing that final taste with the straw? She says. Get really specific about what part of drinking you want to keep and build from there. From the economy page, the Americans who are going a whole month without buying anything. Google searches for no buy January have hit a 5 year high as Gen Zers and millennials sign up for the Thrifty Challenge. And this is by Jennifer Williams and Laura Cooper. This January, Americans aren't just giving up alcohol, they are giving up buying anything at all. Fueled by social media, some consumers are starting the new year with no buy January. It is a challenge to eliminate purchases of anything non essential, like clothes, skin products, and electronics, for the entire 31 days of January. Brent Parsons has taken up the idea. His family of five is typically mindful of expenses, buying meat on sale at the grocery store and clothing at a discount. This year, Parsons, 44 years old, locked the family credit card. Anyone who wants to make a purchase needs to make a case for why gas, fast food, and other potential items are needed. Basically, it's like if you don't take some drastic measures to change our behaviors now, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, he says. Low or no buying years or months have gained in popularity. Google searches for no by January hit a 5 year high in December, driven largely by Gen Zers and millennials, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers. Meanwhile, social media posts setting the rules typically peak in January and begin and in December as avoid purchases track their progress, he said. Americans' month-long exercise and restraint has been known to affect sales of anything from razors in November to alcohol at the beginning of the year and snacks as some take on a 1 month sugar detox. A survey conducted by NerdWallet of more than 2,000 U.S. adults found that more than a quarter have tried a no spend January, with 12% joining in the trend this year. Nearly 45% said life feels expensive right now, which might be a reason people are taking the challenge. Gillian She is one of them. Looking at my finances, they look okay, she said, but just emotionally, it feels stressful. She, 32, plans to resist buying clothes, skin products, coffee, and alcohol this month to cut spending on non essentials down to $300, down for a typical month tally of between 1,000 and 1,500. The one area with wiggle room is eating, typically her biggest area of discretionary spending. Now she caps ordering meals and eating out to a maximum of 3 times a week, compared with as many as 10 in a pre challenged week. I don't know if it's just talking with friends and their anxiety is coming off, or the larger economic conversion and the concern with AI and job replacements, the New York based digital marketing professional said. I can't quite pinpoint what it is. Despite the weak consumer sentiment, Americans have continued to spend. In November, sales growth for U.S. retailers picked up, according to federal data. December retail sales were up an unadjusted 3.54% compared with year earlier, according to data released by the National Retailer Federation. But many Americans say they are feeling the squeeze after 5 years of persistent inflation and as consumers remain anxious about affordability and sluggish hiring. Prices for everything from grocery to insurance and housing are higher than they were a few years ago. For Parsons, the strain of rising costs for basics like food and clothing is consistent and constant. He lives in Nebraska and works in informational technology, taking home around $75,000 a year. As many as 4 nights a week, Parson uses the family Toyota hybrid to moonlight as a DoorDash driver, making between $15 and $20 an hour. Even with that, we have to make a really big effort to spend less than our income, he says. It just never seems to be enough because everything keeps going up. January tends to come with a slowdown in spending after consumers have gorged on shopping for the holidays. Retailers spend most of January trying to push out inventory and cutting prices to tempt shoppers, says Craig Rowley, a senior client partner focused on the retail and consumer sectors at Korn Ferry, a consulting firm. Ashley Piper, author of No New Things, says economic uncertainty is a main driver as people pare back their spending. It makes people want to take control of the things we can control, she says. We can't control fixed incomes like food, rent, or healthcare. Piper undertook her first No New Things challenge in 2013. She said she has been increased interest in the challenge, especially in the past 3 months. To make it a full month without buying, Piper suggests muting and unfollowing anything that encourages spending, like marketing emails or Instagram accounts. Taylor Van Luren, a 24-year-old content creator from Ottawa, just finished her first low buy year. After losing her job in January of last year, Van Leeuwen set out to buy only the essentials, spending $30 a week or less throughout all of 2025, a journey she shared on Instagram. She said she broke down once or twice. She purchased with her partner a Dyson vacuum cleaner on sale and bought 2 pairs of Levi jeans. She said that she needed a vacuum and her old jeans didn't fit anymore. The exercise brought accountability but also stress. She said she learned a couple of things: that shopping shouldn't be a hobby and that a lot of items she considered to be essential weren't really. I would do a low buy quarter, but maybe not a full year again in the near future, she said. From the slow food fast page, French technique, Korean flavor, one impressive salmon. Cooking the ship, cooking the fish and polate makes for a showy presentation, but it's actually a breeze to do. And this is by Kitty Greenwald. The chef is Peter Cho. His restaurant is Han Ok and Jeju, both in Portland, Oregon. What he's best known for? Returning to his home state to open an inventive South Korean restaurant using Pacific Northwest ingredients and a wood fire to create fresh takes on classic dishes. At the back of a parking lot in Portland, Oregon, Peter Cho's hand oak sits behind an unmarked door. Inside the homey dining room and open kitchen, Cho blends the South Korean flavors of his birthplace with the European techniques he mastered as a chef in New York City. Cho applies this culinary overlap to his first slow food fast contribution, bringing a Korean palate to salmon cooked en palote, French for in paper, a method for steam roasting ingredients in a pouch. However fancy this sounds, the technique is actually quite simple. Knowing when the salmon is done is the only tricky part of the in paper preparations, but don't stress. The fish fat helps guard against overcooking. If unsure, Cho suggests undercooking slightly because the packet can be returned to the oven. For the accompaniment, he is less forgiving. Serve with warm, steamed rice. I'm always thinking about sopping up flavors, he says. And here is the salmon in paper with citrus, soy, scallion, and capers. To make the salmon weeknight friendly without sacrificing showmanship, all the fillets cooked through in one large packet instead of being individually wrapped. And the total time is 25 minutes and it serves four. What you need is one lemon halved lengthwise, 3 cups of shredded Napa cabbage, 4 8-ounce salmon fillets, skin removed, kosher salt and freshly cracked black pepper, 1 tablespoon of olive oil plus more as needed, 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of capers drained and roughly chopped, 3 scallions thinly sliced on a bias, warm white rice to serve. Directions: preheat oven to 400 degrees. Slice one lemon half into thin, bite-sized triangles. Discard seeds. Juice the other half lemon and set aside. Line a baking sheet with parchment paper or use aluminum foil for easier cinching. On half of the sheet, spread out cabbage to form an even bed. Arrange salmon on top, leaving at least a ½ inch gap between fillets. Season with salt and pepper. Drizzle olive oil, lemon juice, rice wine vinegar, and soy sauce over fish and cabbage. Scatter capers, lemon slices, and scallions over top. Fold the parchment or foil over the salmon, lining up the edges to form a pouch. Starting at one corner, cinch seam shut by crimping edges together with tightly overlapping folds. Package should be airtight so juices don't escape. Bake on center rack for 12 to 15 minutes until aromatic and fish flakes easily when prodded. To test for medium doneness, gently open the parcel and insert a metal cake tester or the point of a knife into thickest part of the fillet. Hold it there for 5 seconds and touch the tip to your lower lip. It should feel warm, but not hot. Bring resealed parcel to the table and open it before your guests. Spoon cooking juices over fish and cabbage. Serve with rice. From the Rumble Seat by Dan Neal. A beloved Subaru gets a hybrid upgrade. Though 58 years in the U.S. market, Subaru has tended some of the best that modern car building has had to offer, maddeningly packaged with some of the worst. The Dickinson trend continues in our test car, the 2026 Subaru Crosstrek Sports Hybrid, which sells for $35,810 as tested, now with Toyota adjacent technology under the hood. Introduced to the US in 2012, the Crosstrek series is effectively a square-back version of the Impact Impreza sedan with more cargo space, greater utility. The longer roof makes it easier to carry kayaks, bikes, and surfboards, and higher ground clearance. With prices starting under $30,000, the Crosstrek puts Subaru's superb all-wheel drive system within reach of people who really need it. Millennial weekenders, young families, empty nesters living in snowbelt states for some damn reason. Subi's symmetrical AWD running gear represents the aforemost mentioned best. The worst is represented too. Across 3 design generations, the Crosstrek interiors have been crime scenes of indifference, with dated electronics, deprived material comforts, and generic style. While the Infoment touchscreen unit has gotten bigger, they haven't become appreciably quicker to touch. The boot up sequence of our car's test touchscreen required several agonizing seconds to execute. Over the course of a 60-month auto loan, those seconds would add up to a day-long hissy fit. But for Subaru's tree-hugging clientele, the unkindest cut has been fuel economy. The Crosstrek Wilderness, powered by a 2.5-liter horizontally opposed flat four engine, posts an EPA rating of 26 miles per gallon combined. Bear in mind, those figures were attended using low viscosity motor oil to reduce frictional losses and maximum fuel economy. Put a pin in that. The new hybrid models, Sport and Limited, ring up at a nicely agnostic 36, 36, 36 miles per gallon, city, highway combined. Our car's $3,370 premium over the standard Sport has a break even of about 1,000 gallons of gas left unbogged and unburned. Built around a lean burning version of the 2.5-liter flat four, the series parallel strong hybrid system has a notably small engineering footprint. A gear shift, very like Toyota, is hidden inside the CVT, blending the gas output with that of two integrated motor generators. Apart from that, the driveline is status quo ante, pretty much with the logic controlled mechanical center differential splitting torque between front and rear axles, and ratio determined by acceleration, deceleration, demand, and available traction. The axles use opens differentials and brake based torque, venting to articular power left or right, the ability that could make the difference between getting to a ski resort or glumly waiting for a tow truck. From the driver's seat, the additional electro torque represents a welcome bump in both torque and power for the perennial Crosstrek. The little wagon contains the flat force characteristic droning when it revs up as when emerging into highway traffic. The quicker acceleration means you don't have to listen as long. In this and other ways, the hybrid's eyes Crosstrek is not so different, but comparatively improved, more refined and responsive, and meaningfully more fuel efficient. Lastly, if I ever got near 100,000 miles, I would service the timing chain assembly preemptively. The Boxer 4 is an interference engine. The piston faces have small crescent-shaped reliefs into which the valves extend near the top dead center. If the timing chain slips or breaks, which is inevitable given enough time, the pistons would hit the valves. That's all that's left is the long, sad ride in the cab of a tow truck. It took so long to get the hybrid. It'd be a shame to blow it up. You have been listening to the reading of articles and features from Saturday, Sunday, January 24th, 25th issue of Off Duty from the Wall Street Journal. We read from Off Duty every Saturday at 6 p.m. Your reader has been Patricia Mary. Thank you for listening. God bless. Be safe and warm out there.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have Harper's Magazine. At 8 o'clock, we have Sports Illustrated. At 9 o'clock, we have The Athletic, a section of the New York Times. Stay with us for these readings and more through the rest of the evening. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have